Hello, I'm Jamila Musayeva, an international etiquette consultant and a YouTuber with 1 million subscribers on my channel. I always love to add that to my introduction because I'm so proud of this achievement. And in today's video, I'll be analyzing etiquette lessons that we can learn from the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So for today's analysis, we are watching Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Again, you're more than welcome to rewatch the movie, watch it for the first time if you haven't watched it before. But not for none of these etiquette reviews, you really have to watch the full movie. You can only watch this video with episode that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to dissect each episode explaining etiquette lessons that we can learn from it. Overall, I love this movie. I love Brad Pitt. I love Angelina Jolie. I love their relationship or chemistry in this movie. You can definitely see that there's a lot of chemistry in the air, that this was before they started dating, that this movie actually led up to their relationship. It's interesting now watching back how their relationship turned out to be, and it's almost like you don't want to believe that they never ended up working out together because they seemed to work out so perfectly well in this movie. I love this movie for many reasons, obviously for the beautiful cast members, but also for the action and everything. But there were a lot of interesting episodes actually regarding etiquette, and most of them revolve around dining and table manners. So without further ado, let's get started with the very first episode. We see how she introduces herself. So we're going to look at the element of introduction and handshakes. So take a look at it and we'll talk about it. I'm Jane.
John.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So we see here that she introduces herself first and then she extends her hand for a handshake. When it comes to greetings or introductions, usually if there's someone introducing men and women to each other in a social etiquette, it would usually be a man introduced to a woman. So a man is being introduced to a woman, not the other way around. But since it's her initiating the introduction, she introduces herself, but also she extends her hand for a handshake first, which is the correct way of doing it. In a social etiquette, it's the woman that gets to decide if she wants her hand to be shaken or not. You can oftentimes find these awkward situations where a man would extend a hand for a handshake and a woman doesn't want to return, either because of her personal beliefs, maybe religious beliefs, if she is, Muslim or Orthodox Jew, or a Hindu, she doesn't want to handshake a man. In that case, it's always good and safe to wait for a woman to extend her hand for a handshake first.
This looks nice. Did you do something new?
In this episode, we see how Mr. Smith is unfolding a napkin before he starts to enjoy the dinner. And we see that he flips the napkin up above the table, dusts it off, almost like he's dusting it off, and then he places it on his lap. This is the big no-no. Both men and women never do it like that. The way you unfold a napkin should be very discreet, because at the end of the day, it's an item of hygiene. You want to hide everything that's about hygiene. Below the table, if you want to groom yourself, you'll go to a bathroom and do it. Everything about hygiene should be done in private, and so this is true about napkin as well. You take the napkin, you will unfold it under the table. You can unfold it by folding it in half or by holding it in a triangle, and you would place it on your lap in order to protect your lap from anything that might fall onto it, but also you're using the napkin to gently dab your fingers to wipe off anything that can be remaining on your fingers, be it a breadcrumb, be it if you eat something like a finger food. You'll always clean your fingertips before you touch a glass or cutlery. So this is something you would never do like he has done in the movie.
Yeah?
I added peas.
In this episode, and actually in a lot of other episodes where Mrs. Smith is holding a glass, we see that she has wrapped her fingers around the bowl of the glass, almost like she spread all her fingers apart, even her index fingers touching the top of the bowl. This is the incorrect way of holding any type of glass, be it champagne, red wine, white wine, water goblet. Except for the water goblet that's without a stem, you can hold it with your fingers at the bowl because it doesn't have a stem, but you would keep your fingers close by and only hold it by the bottom of the bowl, not spread apart like that. The reason we're not holding our glasses, especially the alcohol ones, wrapped our fingers around the bowl is because we don't want to warm up the drink, because usually most of the drinks are served chilled, and so we want to to keep that temperature going while we're enjoying the drink. And the warmth from our fingertips can really warm up the drink and make it not so tasteful after some time. So that's one of the reasons. The second reason is we don't want to leave the stain from our fingertips on the bowl of the glass, because when we put it back, you can see the stains of the fingertips on the bowl. It doesn't look elegant. And third, just by the aesthetic view of it, it just doesn't look nice when you're holding the drink by the bowl. If she were to hold it by the stem, the lower your hold is by the stem of the glass, the more elegant is your hold. So we want to practice it at home. The only exception to this rule would be if the red wine glass is really wide and very big and you have been served with the red wine, it might be difficult for you to balance the drink by holding by the stem because the bowl is really large. In that case, you are allowed to hold the bowl by the bottom of it, closer to the end of the stem. That's the only case where it's permissible to hold so.
Yeah, it's the green. Sweetheart, will you pass the salt?
It's in the middle of the table.
In this next episode, we see that, she is holding her cutlery close to the plate versus him who's holding the cutlery almost vertically with his elbows all the way up. And the cutlery, it almost feels like it's a knife that's about to stab someone. That's how he's holding it. The way you should hold the cutlery is always keeping your elbows closer to your body and your hands like below your chest level. You never rise it up like that, like he's doing in this. His hands are low, but his elbows are really high up. He almost looks like a chicken wings. And then we also see that the way that she eats the chicken. So she's holding the cutlery really well. She's keeping her elbows intact closer to her body. But the way she picks the chicken off of the fork using her teeth, you can see in this episode that she is using her teeth to take away the chicken. You never expose your teeth like that, like an animal at the table. Your teeth should not be seen. Instead, use your tongue. You would put the chicken, use your tongue to pull away the chicken from the fork and then chew it. Because also remember, showing your teeth is quite an aggressive movement. Also, when you're trying to take the chicken with your teeth scratching the fork, it can make a very uncomfortable sound that doesn't really obviously sound elegant or graceful at the table. So in order to avoid making any noise at the table, you have to ensure that your movements will not create any noise. So picking your chicken without touching your teeth to the fork and using your cutlery in a way that it's not vertically all the way up, because you will see in the next episodes how when he's holding it like that, he's creating the scratching sound at the table.
Taxi?
In this next episode, we see how she is taking a seat in a cab, and actually that was done perfectly graceful on her part. You see here that the driver opens the door. She turns with her back towards the seat once the door has been opened. Then she sits down on the seat of the car, and then she sways both her legs into the cab. You see how effortless the gestures are. There are only two movements that are involved into her getting into the cab: sitting down with her back, swaying her feet in, rather than instead of stepping one foot and then the other and then taking another seat. So in general, in order for the movement to look graceful, we have to take less movements or make it look like you took less effort to do something. The less effortless a movement is, the more elegant it's deemed. And the best way to learn how to move elegantly is to practice it at home before you practice it outdoors.
You only broke these out for special occasions.
This is a special occasion.
In this next episode, we understand who is the man of the house by the way he is seated. So seating arrangement can tell a lot about who is important, who is not, who is the host and who is not, or who is the host and who is the guest of honor. So you see here that she points him to take a seat at the top of the table, closer to the fireplace. traditionally the host's place, so the main man's place in the house, was always closer to the fireplace and away from the door. Closer to the fireplace because he was in charge of, preparing the fire, keeping the fireplace going, and then also away from the door so that he could have a better view of the room, so he could see whoever is walking into the room. So this was actually strategically the place for the main man of the household, though that safety issue or that strategic placement is no longer so relevant in today's world. We are still using that seating arrangement and keeping the top part of the table, according to the British seating arrangement, the top part of the table away from the door is for the main man of the house, and also obviously closer to the fireplace. If this is a drawing room, if this is a dining area, the seat that will be closer to the fireplace will always be of the main host.
A little trouble with the commission.
Is that right?
Yeah. Double booking with another firm.
Huh.
Green beans?
No, thank you.
You'll have some.
Next, we see something that you would never do if you have your guests over, and I would say it doesn't really look so neat even if you're doing it with your family members. We see that she's serving him a big bowl of green bean salad, and she only has a serving spoon. She uses the rest of her fingers to grab the beans and transfer it to his plate, which I don't think looks pretty, elegant, or tasteful, although these are only two people and they're intimate and all of that, and yes, they can share food with their hands, but I just didn't think that this looked particularly good. You always serve with two serving utensils when you're serving a bowl of salad or green beans. It's your serving spoon or your serving fork, and your spoon is there to scoop the salad and your fork is there to make sure that you can hold on to that whatever you have picked up on your spoon, salad leaves, green beans. So this fork is actually to secure it, and then you just open the two and let the salad fall onto your plate. This is very elegant, it's effortless, it's hygienic. So if you ever have your guests over, make sure that you have two serving utensils for serving your salad. In this next episode, we see again something that she is already known for in this movie by the way she's holding her glasses. And so she's seated at a dinner table in the restaurant, and we see that her elbows are on the table, firmly gripped on the table, and she's holding this glass, champagne glass, I'm assuming. Again, she's holding it high by the bowl. Again, her index finger, I think, is closer to the rim of the bowl. You never do that. You never place your elbows at the table. Obviously, at a fancy formal dinner table, you'll keep it away from the table, and especially when you have your meal served, if you had a meal before. The only time it's permissible to place your elbows at a table is once everything is cleared out, there is no food at the table, it's only coffee and maybe champagne. And also, I would say it's permissible when you are dining informally, when you're out and about and with your friends. Again, when all the meals are served away, you can place your elbows at the table. But at a formal dinner table and in a formal setting, you would never place your elbows at the table, regardless your age, which used to be a thing, as women above the age of 35 were only allowed to place their elbows at the table so that they could display their rings or the fact that they were married. Nowadays, obviously, these rules do not apply, and it's all the same for all women and men. Keep your elbows, as your parents said, away from the table. So these are all the little clips that I've analyzed for today's video. Please do let me know in the comment section below which of these episodes you liked the most or learned the most from. And obviously, as always, please do share recommendations under this video so I can take notes on your suggestions. By the way, if you're still with me and watching this video, if you want to learn more in depth about etiquette, you can order my etiquette books that are available on my website for international shipment. You can also join my 2 pre-recorded online courses. One is called Western Formal Dining Etiquette from A to Z, that prepares you for a formal dining experience, be it you're meeting your in-laws or maybe your VIP clients or your business customers and you're invited for a 3-course meal at a fancy restaurant. Watch this video before you're going to be attending that dinner so you make the best impression and that you are masterfully and gracefully using all the cutlery at the table. Also, if you want to learn how to host people over at your home, how to be a cultured host and a gracious guest, you can join my online course called The Art of Entertaining at Home. You can also buy an ebook that goes along with that course and helps you remember all the information even better. And the book is now available in a limited amount in hardcover copies like this, and you can also order it on my website. While you're still here with me, I also wanted to announce that I've added a new tier on my Patreon community, and that is Jamila Musayeva life updates, thoughts and lifestyle and tips, all the things that I don't feel comfortable now sharing on bigger mass audience and my social media like Instagram or YouTube. I'll be sharing some clips, videos, thoughts, pictures from my vacations and lifestyle and things that I love enjoying, like my hobbies or beauty tips and hacks that I'm using. So this is going to be a more intimate space where you're more than welcome to join to see my lifestyle tips and tricks, and also you can share your own recommendations. I really want to create a close and safe space where we can exchange opinions without hatred and without negativity. Thank you so much for being with me and choosing to support me on Patreon, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.